Okay, go ahead.
All right, great, thank you. So what I got here is I am on a Hyper-V instance. This is my lab environment. It's got Active Directory going. And what I'm going to have is I'm going to have this client 2 attacker box have Atomic Red Team on it. That's what I'll be showing today is installing it on there and running a technique on there. And then this is the client machine to do the attack on. So client 1 attack. So what I'll go ahead and I'll go client 2. So here we are, client 2. I have to use administrator to install ART. So first though, I want to say that you got to put WinRM. So if you want to remote to that client 1 server, you're going to have to make sure WinRM is enabled by enabling PS Remote Force and set basically any host to be able to get to it, and then just restart the IMRM, and then that should get that going. So let's just, and I'm not going to explain all these things. I can hand this out later, but a lot of work went into like figuring out this exact flow of PowerShell commands to get Atomic Red Team going. Because I looked everywhere and no one had really a succinct way to do this. But I found all the different nuances and put them all together, and we're just going to run it here. But basically it's, you got to do the set execution bypass so that you can do these scripts. And then it's pulling down the actual GitHub, and then it's installing the execution framework from GitHub. And then it's going to install like a separate like Atomic Red Team, Invoke Atomic Red Team, the actual like execution framework. And so, and also, let's see here, and also it'll grab all the atomics, all the techniques. It'll grab, and that's what it's doing right now. That's why it's taking so long. It's grabbing all the techniques. So I'm doing this on this box, on this client 2 box. So this is my attacker box. And so that's great. And I have Windows Defender off. And in this script somewhere, I'm also saying turn off Windows Defender. And so when doing this in an actual engagement, this is good to have it on your attacker box, because if you try to download all these atomics onto some other machine, you're going to get alerts, not for all of them, but you're going to get some alerts. So it's better to just plan it out and like stage it in another machine like this. And then once you planned out what techniques you need to go against, like the Windows Defender, then you just do those one at a time, not all the atomics. So it looks like it did that. At the end, I like to set my location to be where the atomic folder is. And if I do like a dir, it'll show like all the atomics. So they're all by the numbers, right? The MITRE ATT&CK framework numbers. So now that this is installed, the invoke command. So if you do tab after you do invoke, it should get to this atomic test. And then you'll want to do whatever the atomic test is. So T, whatever. So you can tab complete. Or if you know what it is, like if we go T 070, I think, let me look if I have an example one. We'll do T10 70. Even though this one says 78. And then you could look these things up. So like if you go like, what the heck is a T1070? You could go like red canary, atomic red team, repo, GitHub. It's probably the better thing to say. There it is. I can go, the T, whatever. That one, and then it'll be like, oh, it's clear Windows event logs. Okay, cool, that's what it is. Sweet. So now you want to clear Windows event logs. Typically, there's a few commands you want to do. You want to say like, what is this thing? So you want to say show details brief. You hit that, then it says, okay, under this particular technique, there's actually 3 here relevant to us. There's the clear logs, there's the number 2, which is delete system, another way to clear logs, and then another way to clear logs, basically is what it is. And so once you're like, okay, which one do I want? I want, say, test number 1. So if we go test numbers, and then I say 1, and I'm still going to show details brief because I want to make sure I got the right one. Okay, cool. That's the one I want. Great. Fantastic. So if I do this again though, and then kind of backspace and just say, I want to see like, what is in that command? And so if I do just show details, I think someone's, David, I think your mic is kicking back some feedback. But yeah, if you do show details and you hit enter, that's where it like actually shows you the meat of this. So basically you can see the attack command, what it'll actually do. So it's actually using this utility, and it's using the CL, the clear switch on whatever log name you want to supply. But by default, it'll do it on the system log, okay? And so now you know what it does like specifically, right? Okay, and so this one has less things, like there's other techniques that have clear, like clean up after yourself commands, but I won't be showing that right now. So like if I run this as is, if I want to, well, before I do that, this one is obviously built into Windows. That Windows event utility is built in, so there's no having to like get any prerequisites. But if it wasn't, or if you didn't know, let's say you didn't know. So if you tab through these things, you can say, hey, check prerequisites there on the side, and it'll go through and it'll be like, yeah, checking for this. Yeah, it's met. You're good. It's green. This is green. This means it's met. Of course it is because it's built in. But if it wasn't, then after after checking for prereqs, then it would be like, okay, well, if you can, how about you get me the prereqs? And so then it would go out and get, like, if it was a different binary somewhere else, maybe the binary is sitting on GitHub somewhere else. So it'd go get it, bring it down, put it on the system, and then you could do a check prereqs and be like, oh yeah, you're good, it's there. So yeah, so there's that. So those are kind of essential in that area. And then,
so quick question here in terms of you're running these tests, and is it running against the target is your machine that Atomic Red Team is on? Is that how it's working in this case right here?
So this case, exactly. That's where this is going to go right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll do it remotely to the client one machine. So right now, if I were to run this the way it is, this is Windows log event viewer built into Windows. And here's like systems, that's the default log it clears. So if I click on, well, for whatever reason, this thing is taking forever. Event viewer is kind of slow. Okay, so there's a ton of stuff in system, right? Cool. So right now, yep, thanks for saying that. If I do this right now, this is how it would work. It would, we'll go do this. It'll say, hey, I cleared the log. Basically, the default one was system. So if I go back here and I right click and I do a refresh, wherever that's probably behind here. Let me move my bar. Yep, there's the refresh. I hit refresh and there it is. So there's the event log cleared. And that's the event ID that blue teams would like to see or not like to see, or it's a good indicator, that 104 event ID of cleared logs. Yeah, that's not fun to have. So yeah, so let's go into the security log now, and let's just go. I'm going to show how to do an extra thing where it's like, I don't want to just do the system. I want to do other stuff. So there's this prompt for input args. So if we go prompt for input, this is where it'll say basically like, hey, system is the default thing unless you want to give me something else. And that's where I'll go, yeah, I want to give you security. I want to clear out security. So press enter. This green means good. We come back here. Let's refresh. Boom, gone. Another event ID. This one's 1102. So again, one of those things you want to find. All right, so let's go on to the remote one and do that. So the remote's a little different. It requires a few things. So PS remoting is required. And again, I just did a bunch of stuff, put it all together. And so I could do this one by one. So here we go. So let's just copy the first one. I'm going to make the screen out a little bigger. Actually, can I make this super bigger? Yeah, there we go. All right. So if I go, basically, I'm going to take a variable and I'm going to say put in it a new session. Give it that client one that we want to go to attack to. And for this one, I'm using the domain credential, the administrator domain credential, administrator. So that's what I want to use. And I could have made it so where it will just have the credentials in line, but I didn't. So here I have to give the password. Hopefully I get it right. Otherwise this won't win RM. Okay, so there's that. So hopefully that's working. And then next I'll want to import. Well, this has already been imported, but this is like, we're going to go through a fresh install of like, we're just doing remote. So in a remote, we would import these atomic red team stuff. I'd have to add it to my session shell. This session, for whatever reason, if you don't do this, it just forgets where you're at and where to pull stuff from. So I always do this, whatever new shell I'm open, this is the same shell, but I may have opened a new one. And then at the last thing, I set the location. So for this one though, we're gonna have to use that session deal. So we'll go ahead and we'll run something that looks like none of that, but so we basically we're gonna evoke atomic test just like before. We're gonna pick the same one. So it's the 1070 001. It was test number 1, I believe, and we're using that session that we created. And so now, oh, was there something? Someone said something?
You said 1070. It's T17.
T10. Oh, good call. Thank you. Yeah, and you know what? I should probably drink my own juice. So if I do show details brief, then it would have choked, right? If I didn't get that right. Thank you so much. And then so now that I know it is, and then I can do sessions, and then I can use that session variable. And so, but we're not going to do this brief. We're just going to run it with the defaults, just like that. And that should hit up the client 1. So let me go on to client 1 really quick. And this gets a little funky because it doesn't like when I make both of these big together. All right, sorry, this is looking very confusing. So let me get back here. So I'm going to go on to client 1 in my lab environment. So I'm going to double click it. Here's my client 1, and I'm just going to open up the event viewer. So it's showing no hocus pocus here. And if we do default, it's going to do the system log. So here's the system log. Oh, I wish it would give us more view there. And again, yeah, event viewer always takes a while to open up. Okay, so a bunch of stuff in there. So if we go back to the attack machine, let me expand this out a bit, expand this out. There we go. And I press enter. All right, did the deal, green for good. So if I minimize this, come back to our client 1, go to system, do a refresh to see what happened. Oh, and there we go. It has been cleared with that event ID 104 log clear. 104, that should have been 102, I thought. It's interesting. Maybe 102 is just in the security area, or 1102. Let's do the security one just to see what that clear log is. So back to the attacking box. And we'll go here and let me move this up a little bit. And session, I need to prompt. Let's see if I can add this prompt to the end here. I can, cool. All right, security, that's the log. All right, go. All right, so hopefully that went there. If I went here, back to the client 1, we'll clear, not clear, we'll refresh. And there it is. Okay, yeah, that clear event for security is 1102, and the clear event for system is 104. Yeah, so great. So that really concludes getting, working with Art, using the one technique and using it locally, and then using it remotely. Any questions?
So I just want to make some quick comments for the CyberForce Competition red teamers. So we're exploring different options of running some of the plays. And so Atomic Red Team might be one of those options, but we're always going to have instructions on how to do the plays manually. So you can like do it manually. But for those who are interested, potentially we might have Atomic Red Team as an option as well. So a question I did have for you is that it seems the dependency here is you have to install or run it from Windows. Is that like the case? Yeah, that's what that's what it looks like. Okay.
I've installed PowerShell on Kali before and
Oh,
tried to run
geez.
from there, but
Oh, man.
it gets a little funky.
Good
The
to
best
know.
way to do it would be from a Windows.
Okay. And one other comment I wanted to make is that Jesse is very experienced with PowerShell, so he's running all of these very powerful and these different PowerShell commands. So, and for people who are new to that, they probably don't know the meaning of that. So that's an area that other people can research, or if someone is interested in the future of doing a demo on some of those PowerShell fundamentals, what's enter or new PS sessions, etc. Right? That would be definitely valuable.